3 formulas, 1 zone, and the same question in every intake. Which one? This is the gut microbiome, the middle Jiao, and there's a wrinkle in this zone that catches almost everybody, including practitioners. I'll put it up front. Here it is because everything else depends on it. The temperature of the formula is the opposite of the temperature of the patient. The warmer product goes to the colder patient. It's standard practice in our medicine, and it's still the mistake I see most because product pages read the other way. Temperature and moisture differentiate every biome on Earth, and equally the living microbiomes inside the body. When the gut microbiome drifts, the presentation turns contradictory, hot and cold, damp and dry, vacuity and repletion in the same patient, and the picture refuses to resolve into one tidy pattern. That isn't a failed differentiation. You're looking at growing conditions that drifted. So the middle Jiao gets positions, and you pick the one that matches. Atone, agastache powder to rectify the qi for the acute stall. Microguard Plus on a preserve harmony backbone in the warmer direction for the microbiome that runs cold. And Microguard, the same backbone in the cooler direction for the same picture with heat riding on top. The classical names are on the slide. 2 questions differentiate them in this order. Question 1, is this sudden or is this the patient's baseline? Sudden is the questionable takeout, the travel week, the summer bug, the water that wasn't quite right. External damp obstructing the middle. It arrived, the patient can roughly date it, and they want it settled today. That's Atone's lane. Baseline is how digestion runs on an ordinary Tuesday when nothing in particular has happened. That's the standing state of the gut microbiome. And that's what the 2 microguard vials are built for. The shortcut. If the patient can't name a trigger, you're treating the microbiome, not an event. The first fork, plainly, a datable onset points to Atone. No nameable trigger, you're treating the microbiome. Question 2, cold or hot? The hot pattern is the cold pattern plus heat signs, not a separate presentation, so learn the cold picture first. Cold is spleen yang territory. Soft or irregular stools, lethargy, heavy weak limbs, little appetite, gas and bloating, often a puffy face and a mood closer to flat than frantic. Then heat adds dry, hard, sheep pellet stool, or stool that starts hard and finishes loose with burning. Putrid breath, a frontal headache arriving with the digestive complaint, and anxious energy rather than flat exhaustion. 3 questions do most of the work in under a minute of intake. How is the appetite? Normal, diminished, or strong? What are the stools like? Loose or hard? And emotionally, is the patient closer to depressed or closer to anxious? Diminished, loose and flat points cold, strong, hard, and anxious points hot. Agastache powder to rectify the qi is the classic for external damp obstructing the middle, a household staple across much of Asia. It works by aromatically transforming damp, releasing the exterior, and redirecting stuck qi and fluid, not by attacking. Agastache is the monarch. Perilla leaf and fragrant angelica release the exterior. Areca husk and magnolia bark move qi and relieve fullness. Tangerine peel and pinelia dry damp and settle nausea. White atractylodes emporia fortify the spleen and drain damp. Platycodon and licorice open the chest and harmonize. 11 herbs, with the full aromatic architecture kept intact rather than trimmed for cost. The timing rule worth borrowing. Atone is strongest for sudden onset and most used as the days grow shorter. Microguard Plus is for the patient whose baseline runs cold and slow. The spleen vacuity picture we just built. It's the warmer of the 2 vials, and the herbs unique to it tell you why. Hawthorn, medicated leaven, and rice sprout are the classical trio for food stagnation. Overeating, eating too fast, food that sits. Acarus is the orifice-opening herb, the line uses for the gut-brain layer. Tribulus calms the liver and dispels wind. It's positioned as the continuation vial, the one that carries the work past month 3, and it suits the cold, yin-leaning constitution rather than the lean, hot, wired one. Microguard is the same backbone with heat on top. The unique herbs say so. Chrysanthemum releases wind heat. Magnolia bark regulates qi and relieves fullness. Tribulus extinguishes wind, and rice husk works on food stagnation. It suits either the lean, acute, yang constitution, the skinny, vegan end of the spectrum, or the larger, very yang presentation where heat and damp are both loud. The sentence to reread if only one thing sticks. You give the cooler formula to the hotter patient. It sounds backwards for about 5 seconds, and then it's obvious. It's how we've always prescribed. The two vials overlap more than they differ, which is why the differentiation matters more than the ingredient list. They share a backbone grouped by job, regulating qi, aucklandia and red tangerine peel for bloating, pain, and the tension that lands in digestion when life gets loud, releasing and calming wind, mint, kudzu, fragrant angelica, uncaria, and trichosanthes root, draining damp, black atractylodes, quackseed, poria, and agastache. Quackseed deserves its own note. The line describes it washing the intestines by improving fecal moisture and peristalsis, and repairing the intestinal wall by supporting epithelial growth. And notice the through line. Agastache is in both vials, and it is the monarch herb of Atone. The aromatic damp transformer that settles an acute stall is the same herb doing quiet background work in the daily formulas. That's not a coincidence. That's the architecture of the zone, how it sequences in practice. The acute stall takes Atone, sipped at the first sign. The standing pattern takes whichever vial matches, and the two vials are a sequence rather than a pair to run simultaneously, with Microguard Plus described as the continuation vial that carries the work past month 3. Season shapes the choice too. Atone is the stronger pick for sudden onset as the days grow shorter, while wind, one zone up, is most elegant as the days lengthen. So, the whole differentiation in one line: sudden onset, Atone; cold and heavy, Microguard Plus; hot and dry, Microguard. And the warmer product always goes to the colder patient. The full write-up with complete herb lists and the side-by-side comparison is on the Valley Health Clinic blog. Thanks for watching.